Now, all of a sudden, everybody know how to spar. Hey, what's up, everybody? Once again, my name is DJ, doing what I do, sitting back here on a Monday, chilling. And of course, it's not Monday, but that's my catchphrase, and I'm sticking to it. Man, I did a video the other day, and it was called "Why Your Krav Maga School Doesn't Spar." And I'm gonna tell you, man, I don't even know if I got lots of comments. But I don't even know if people actually watched the video. I think they saw the thumbnail and was because I send out the video on Facebook to different groups, and people watched I think people looked at the thumbnail, commented on the thumbnail, and didn't watch the video. Because I don't have too many comments on YouTube. I wish y'all would respond to YouTube to help my algorithm, But anyway, I appreciate the comments nevertheless. But everybody was commenting, and oh no, man, I got 20, 30 people responding, talking about, oh, my school spa, we spa. I don't know what you're talking about. Our school spa. Now, number one, I wasn't calling out any particular school. If your school spars, great. I wasn't talking about you, okay, or your school, okay. And number two, had you had listened to the video, I was talking about why schools don't spar, because a lot of schools don't spar. However, since all y'all wanted to comment talking about why tell me your school spars, my question is your school or is your instructors qualified to teach a sparring class? Do you have an instructor? And if you're an instructor, are you or your instructor qualified to teach sparring class? All right, let's talk about it. Drink my little bit of water because, y'all be tripping. All right, cool. So I'm going to tell you three things that I feel are necessary to teach a sparring class, okay? All right, three things, okay? So sometimes I talk about four, but today I'm gonna try to stick with three. Okay. The first thing you need to be qualified to teach a sparring class is that you have to be taught to teach a sparring class, okay? All right, so there are a lot of different programs out here. I was commenting on one brother. I'm a part of Krav Maga Worldwide. You got Krav Maga this, Krav Maga that. You got self-defense this, self-defense that. You got a whole bunch of different stuff. It ain't just Krav Maga. It's about across the board, okay? And we teach our instructors to teach, but we don't teach them to teach sparring class. So you can be a level 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You can be a black belt. You can be a black belt in Krav Maga, and you have never been taught to teach a sparring class. So how do you know how to teach a sparring class if you've never been taught to teach a sparring class? Okay? You have to be taught. You don't just wake up in the morning and be able to teach a sparring class. You got to know how to teach students control. You got to know how to teach people physical control, emotional control. You have to know how to teach students timing and distance. You have to know how to set up sparring drills. Okay, you just don't know this shit just because you are a high-level practitioner or a high-level instructor. You have to be taught to teach that stuff. Make sense? Okay, so that's the first thing. Have you been taught to teach people how to spar and spar safely? Because that's very important, sparring safely, okay? The second thing that I think that you need to teach a sparring class, if you have to have been involved in sparring, you have to be sparring yourself against people that are better than you, Okay, so that means that you've been sparring. You done had your ass handed to you a lot. Okay, you have been sparring against people that are better than you for long periods of time. You know, for a few years. Okay, I do jujitsu now, and they better than me. Okay, so I'm going against people every day that's better than me. Okay, and I know how to teach. So once I get better at my jujitsu, I will know how to teach jiu-jitsu because I know about, you know, the bumps and bruises and the submissions that were put on me, you know, so I know how to teach, you know, and I know how I got out of situations. I know how to teach that. Okay, so you gotta, if you ain't been going against people that are better than you, I mean, you can't just be like being the best person in your class for your whole career, and now all of a sudden, because you beating up everybody in your class, you think you're a good sparring instructor. No, you beating up everybody in your class because you're better than everybody in your class. But you got to go somewhere where they beating you up, and then take your teaching knowledge and transfer that information. All right. So that's the second thing. The third thing is you were a competitive striker. Like maybe you was a boxer, maybe you was an MMA fighter, maybe you was a Muay Thai fighter, maybe you was a kickboxer. You was a competitive fighter, and goes back to number one, you was taught to teach. Because you can be, look man, you can be a 20-year champion and can't teach nobody how to box. You can a 20-year champion in boxing, or boxing for 20 years and can't teach nobody how to box. You could be, I'll talk about the basketball, you could have been playing basketball for years. In my book, Self-Defense, Why Even Bother, I talk about great coaches. And some of the greatest players made the worst coaches because they can play don't mean they can teach people how to play. Okay? So, but if you are a competitive striker and you know how to teach, then I think that's a qualification. So those are, and you got to be at least 2 or 3 of those things, okay? You got to be taught to teach. You have to have sparred against people that's better than you and been taught to teach. And you have to you have to been a competitive fighter and taught to teach. Number one, you got to have that across the board. You have to be taught to teach. Just because you're doing something don't mean that you should be teaching it. All right? So, you know, for all people who got sparring programs, I'm glad you got sparring programs. Okay? You should have sparring programs. Okay? And it's a necessity. Okay? But don't think that just because, you know, you've been doing it for a long time or you go to sparring class, you can't just go to a sparring class and they say, all right, go, and everybody spar, and you think that's a good class. Okay? Hey, it's levels to this shit. All right? However, whatever you're going to do it to the best of your ability. All right? And don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Hey guys, comment on the YouTube channel. I like you comment on Facebook. Comment on the YouTube channel, man. I got to get this, you know, this algorithm up. All right? Like, comment, subscribe. Buy my book, Self-Defense, Why Even Bother? How, why, and what to learn to protect yourself. All right? Peace. I'm out.